Welcome. I'm Deborah Charnes, and it is January of 2021. And I thought it would be a good time to reflect on the lessons learned from 2020. And actually, it's not something that, just now that we're in 2021, I thought about it. I've written a number of blog posts for my site, thenamastecouncil.com, and even for the Houston Chronicle that talk about reflections of 2021. And in reality, I see a lot of positive of what has happened in 2020. In 2020. And of course, with anything, it's all about your attitude and it's about how you look at things. And I am a yogi, so I look at things from the yogic perspective. So I'm going to talk to you about 5 lessons from 2020 that I have learned. And you can see more on my website, the Namaste Council, under my blogs to read more about it. The first one, and this is something that I wrote actually a travel blog for the Houston Chronicle about, is it's about cherish your loved ones. And I'm a major traveler. I've been traveling on my own since I was 16, and I consider myself, like a world backpacker, and it's hard for me to not be traveling. And yet, in reality, what I have seen through 2020 is the only thing that really matters is to be able to cherish your loved ones, whether they be your partners, whether they be friends, whether they be family. And I have enjoyed through this last COVID year, even if I'm not meeting in person with my loved ones through Zoom, or however it may be. I know that they're doing a lot of drive-by parties, things like that. So there are ways to still connect with those loved ones. And to me, that is what it's really all about. And what I think our society has a tendency to do is we look at the external instead of looking at relationships and the internal. And from a yogic perspective, I look at asteya and aparigraha. So I have written about asteya and aparigraha in the past. So even if you just Google the Namaste Council and asteya and aparigraha, you'll find other articles about it. But to me, what 2020 did, not only for me, but for most of us, is we realized it doesn't matter what we're wearing. So, I could be wearing my pajamas from here down. It doesn't matter. There were jokes going around about people wearing their pajamas 24/7. And then when you're on Zoom, you just put something on decent from here up or whatever. But the point is that the material things really don't matter. Those fade and they can be trashed. The same thing with travel. As much as I'm a major proponent of travel, travel is not as important as sharing experiences with your loved ones. So asteya and aparigraha are about non-detachment and about non-wanting of material things in particular. So it's about being content and releasing any attachment that you may have. So again, that's asteya and aparigraha, and I see that relating to my number 1 lesson from 2020 is cherish your loved ones. And that cherish your loved ones also, to me, I see that releasing of the attachment even to careers. So I think most of us, well, I shouldn't say most of us, many of us have gone through major changes in our careers because of COVID. And so again, if you take a back seat and look from a bird's eye view or look from afar, you'll see what really matters. And so again, number 1 is to cherish your loved ones. Number 2, cherish your health. And my God, 2020 was such a year to relish every day that we all woke up feeling healthy. Yesterday, I went to the dentist. I hadn't gone in a year because I had not wanted to go only because of COVID. And as is normal, they took my temperature. And when they took my temperature, I was shocked because it was much higher than normal. And within a few minutes, it was normal. But normally, if we have a temperature, we don't think anything about it. It's so normal, so what? We have a little bit of a temperature. But COVID has gotten us paranoid about a lot of things. Again, if I haven't had any kind of respiratory problems, and so if I have a runny nose, it's like, okay, it's a runny nose. But if I were to have a cough, maybe all of a sudden I'd be a little bit more paranoid. So my point about lessons from 2020 are cherish our health, because I don't think we do cherish our health enough. And of course, the health of all of our loved ones. And in 2020 in particular, it was so obvious. We saw what happens when we have underlying conditions that make us more at risk for the coronavirus. So that cherish your health to me also relates to Asayana Parigraha, because it's saying forget about the external, forget about the material, forget about the attachment to things, and just look at your loved ones and your health. The next one, number 3, cherish the planet. So I actually wrote an article that was called Ahimsa for the Planet. And ahimsa to me is the number 1 commandment for yogis, and it is do no harm. And I try to live a life of ahimsa in many different ways. So most people think of ahimsa, or most yogis think of ahimsa as not killing. So I would say it's, most of us aren't killing, but even if you spray a bug spray to kill a bug, that is killing. But I looked at ahimsa in 2020 as ahimsa for the planet, because in reality, the coronavirus was a boost to some extent for our planet, for our ecosystem, because there was less traffic, there was less waste. And so it was really beneficial. And I think a lot of people that I've always been very concerned about the environment, but I think people that even normally were not really concerned about the environment, their eyes were opened a little bit more about the environment and the beauties that transpired to the environment as a result of coronavirus, especially in those first few months. So number 4, to some extent relates to cherish your loved ones, but it's going beyond the people that you know and that you love and hold very dear to you. And to me, it is also about ahimsa, which is do no harm, but again, it's going beyond to everyone. And I am going to use the expression that's much more common in the Kundalini tradition, which is Ek Onkar, we are one. And again, I wrote an article about Ek Onkar. We are all children of God. And I don't even mean human beings. I don't even mean white, black, brown, whatever. I don't even mean, straight, queer. What I mean is human beings, any sentient beings. We are all made under God. We are all sentient beings, and we are all loved by God. And so we should, at the same time, love one another. And the idea of ekonkar and loving everyone, what inspired me to write my article back when I did was with the BLM movement, the Black Lives Matter movement, because there were just horrendous things that were going on in our country, and it's just hard for me to understand how they happen. But again, I think we all need to look at life from the perspective of Ek Onkar. We are all one. And again, regardless of what your religion is, regardless of your ethnicity, of your sexual preferences, or again, even going beyond human beings. We need to have respect for every living being. So, number 5 is something that I recently did in Instagram TV and Facebook Live chat about, and it's about the beauty of silence. So, I think as humans, it's natural that we want to be around people, but what I think that the coronavirus in 2020, hopefully it taught us, I know it taught me, is to cherish being by myself and to cherish the silence, the alone time, and to first love yourself. And from a yogic perspective, I wrote an article about pratyahara. And pratyahara is a type of tuning within and releasing attention to the senses. So it is a very deep type of meditation. And I think a lot of us had the opportunity in 2020 to have more self-exploration. I know I did. And again, I loved the downtime and the alone time. And to me, there was so much more time for self-reflection, for self-realization, and then ultimately for love of oneself. And that's one of the reasons why I am doing next month, I'm doing a series of First Love Yourself free workshops. So check out my website and my social media pages for more information on how to participate in those free First Love Yourself workshops, which are virtual and in person. And so people were talking a lot about 2020 vision, and I have to say, I feel that I was very lucky for so many reasons. I was lucky because I had my health. I have not fallen ill, and the people closest to me have not fallen ill. I have known plenty of people who have been affected by COVID, and I have known people who had loved ones who have passed from COVID. So while it's very painful, I am very thankful that me and my immediate circle was not affected. So one, I give so much thanks for my health and for my loved ones. So again, going back to those 5 lessons, 1, cherish your loved ones. 2, cherish your health. 3, cherish the planet. And I have driven, oh my God, maybe 1/30th of the amount of miles that I was traveling before, both in my car, and then if I look at, of course, I haven't been on a plane. I've been doing a lot to help the environment. And then ekonkar, love one another, equal in God's eyes. And then number 5, love yourself and love life and try to go within. So those are my messages from 2020, and I'm thankful that I was able to do all of those. So if anyone has any questions, please comment below, or you can DM me on any of my social media. Please follow me on my social media and check out my webpage for more information on all of what I just talked about, because as I mentioned, every one of the topics I talked about was already something that I addressed in a blog this year. So thank you very much, and may you all be able to cherish your loved ones, your health, the planet, each other, every sentient being, and maybe you also be able to cherish your own life. From my heart to yours, namaste.